Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget-friendly, and delicious. If you'd like to get some weeknight meal ideas for your family, then just keep watching. For dinner this first night, I'm making some ham and Swiss sliders. I've shared this before on my channel. I'll include a link to the video in the description box below. To go along with that, I'm going to make a quick and easy fruit salad. So to get started on the fruit salad, in this bowl, I've just cut up some fresh pineapple. Next, I'm going to add in some strawberries, and you can use whatever fruit you and your family like. Next, I'm going to add in some grapes. Next, I'm going to add in some kiwi. I just like to slice off each of the ends and then take my knife and just kind of run around the kiwi and remove that skin. And then I'm just going to chunk that up and place that into the bowl. Next, I'm going to add in my oranges. Here is a can of mandarin oranges and juice that I have drained. I prefer the oranges and juice, but you can use whatever your preference is. Then I'm going to add in some yogurt. Our favorite is strawberry, but you could really use any flavor of yogurt. You could also do Greek yogurt if you like that. But you're just going to toss that together, and then this really is best if it's eaten and served, right away. Like with any fruit salad, if you make this in advance, it gets kind of watery. And here are the finished ham sliders out of the oven. Again, I'll include a link to my video in the description box below for this. And then we have the fruit salad. And here are the plates. This was a super easy and quick dinner to put together, and it was really yummy. Tonight for dinner, I'm making steak tips. Now, I don't really like to call this a recipe because it's really just 2 ingredients. It's really easy, but a lady that I used to work with shared this with me, and so I like to make these every so often. They're really good and easy. It's basically just 2 ingredients. You'll take a steak, and it can be whatever steak you like. I'm using a sirloin steak. I've cut it up into chunks, and then I've placed it into the Ziploc bag, and then the second ingredient is just Italian dressing. That's it. I've added that. I like to marinate this overnight, but you can do it for a few hours if you would prefer. Now, you can totally skip this next step if you like, but we really enjoy sauteed onions and mushrooms with our steak, so I'm going to make some of those tonight. In this skillet, I'm going to add in some butter. Then I'm going to add some sliced mushrooms. Portobello mushrooms are really good in this as well. Then I'm going to add some sliced onion. I like to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and then some salt and pepper. And then I just cook this on medium to medium low until the onions are nice and soft. Next, I'm going to cook the steak tips. So in this cast iron skillet, I've got it on about medium-high heat. I'm going to add in my oil and just a little bit of butter. I like the flavor of the butter, but butter smokes at a lower temperature. So if you add both, it doesn't get as smoky. Then once that's nice and hot, I'm going to add in my steak tips. Now, you may need to do this in batches. You want to make sure that you get a good, nice sear on these. And these steak tips do not take long at all. I mean, even if you like them well, they only take a couple of minutes on each side. I'm also going to season them with some salt and pepper. And again, I'm just searing those on both sides. We like ours medium, so I only cooked them for maybe just 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes on each side. But again, just cook it to your temperature that you like your steak. And here are the finished plates. So once the steak tips were done, I just tossed them with the sauteed onions and mushrooms. And then to go along with that, here we just have some baked potatoes. I just washed my potatoes really well, pricked them with a fork, rubbed some olive oil, salt and pepper, and then cooked them at 350 degrees until they were nice and tender. How long you cook them really just depends on how big your potatoes are. And then to go along with that, I have some salads with homemade ranch dressing, and this was delicious. For dinner this next night, my husband had to go out of town kind of unexpectedly on business, and it was just me, and I was starting to not feel well this day and really did not feel like cooking, so I just ordered some delivered takeout from our local Thai restaurant, and that was dinner this night. For this night's dinner, I made a Swiss chicken casserole. Again, it was just me, and I didn't want to do anything really complicated. I was trying to use up some things that I have. Now, I've made this several times in the past, and we really enjoy it. The recipe calls for raw chicken breasts, and that's what I normally use, but on this night, I had a couple of chicken breasts that were already grilled, so that's what I used. I just chopped that up and placed this into a greased casserole dish. Now, again, the recipe does call for raw chicken. Then I'm going to add some sliced Swiss cheese. and set that aside. And then in this bowl, I'm going to add in a can of cream of mushroom soup. You could use cream of chicken soup if you prefer. I'm going to add in the milk. Now, I'll include the recipe for this in the description box below. I halved the amount of chicken and stuffing on top, but I left the amount of the milk and cream of mushroom sauce the same, if that makes sense, because I like mine kind of saucy. But once I have poured that milk and soup mixture over it, I'm going to add my stuffing mix and then some melted butter. And then this goes into the oven. I bake this at 350 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. Again, my chicken was already cooked all the way through. But if you are using raw chicken, you'll probably want to cook it about 45 minutes to an hour, or until the chicken is 165 degrees. And to go along with this, we usually like to use asparagus, and luckily I had just a little bit left over that I needed to use up. So I've cut off the ends of the asparagus. I'm just going to air fry this. This was the first time I've cooked asparagus in the air fryer, I believe, and it turned out really good. To my asparagus, I'm going to add some olive oil, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. You can add whatever seasonings you like. I placed this into the air fryer. I believe I cooked it at 400 degrees for about 9 or 10 minutes. Just cook it until the asparagus is cooked to your liking. If you like it really soft, cook it a little bit longer. If you like it still with a little bit of bite, cook it a little bit less. And here is the finished casserole and the asparagus. And here's my finished plate. So I have some of the casserole and the asparagus. This was good. Now, to be honest, I do prefer it the way that I normally make it and the way the recipe's written, with just like a single piece of chicken breast instead of the chunked up chicken, but it was still good. Now, for dinner this next night, I am just keeping it real, people. Like I said, my husband was out of town, and on this particular day, I felt like absolute crap. And so this is what I had for dinner. I just took a package of these frozen sausage and biscuits, popped it in the microwave, and that was my dinner this night. For dinner this next night, I'm making taco salads. Now, this recipe I got from a lady that I used to work with. Not the same lady as the steak tips. Different company, different lady. But she used to make this and bring this in for lunch, and it was so good. I asked her for a recipe, and I've made it for years. I'm going to get started on the dressing. Now, with this dressing, the ingredients might sound a little bit weird to you. And to be completely honest, if she would have told me what was in this dressing and the taco salad before I ate it, I probably wouldn't have eaten it, but luckily she didn't. So it might sound a little bit weird, but it's actually delicious. I recommend you give this a try. So in this bowl, I've just added in the Thousand Island dressing, and then all of this is to taste. You're going to add in some taco seasoning, some hot sauce, and sugar. The recipe calls for 1/3 cup of sugar, which is kind of a lot, so I would recommend you adding like a tablespoon or two and then tasting it and adding more if you feel like it needs it. And then the recipe doesn't call for this, but I like to add in just like a tablespoon or two of salsa. I'm going to whisk that together really well, and then you want to refrigerate this for at least 30 minutes. I mean, if you can make it a couple hours in advance, that's best. Next, I'm going to assemble the salads. Now, you can use whatever you and your family like. I'm just making it the way that my coworker, made it for me. That's how we enjoy it. But again, do whatever you'd like. So in these bowls, I'm just going to add some salad. You can use whatever lettuce you like. Then I'm going to add in some tomatoes. Next, I like to add in some diced cucumber. I just like the crisp coolness that this brings to the salad. Next, I'm going to add in my beans. Now, she used to make it with the dark red kidney beans. That's what I like to use, but you could use black beans, pinto beans, whatever you like. I've just drained these. I'm going to add that. Then I'm going to add some shredded cheddar cheese. Next, I'm going to add my taco meat. Now, most of the time I make this with ground turkey, but today I just happen to have some leftover ground beef from a different recipe. I just warmed that up in the saucepan and then added my taco seasoning and water. This is a great way to use up leftover taco meat. Then I'm going to add some Doritos. Now, I happen to have some of these taco flavored Doritos. That's really good, but I didn't have enough for both of our salads, so I'm just adding some regular Doritos that I've crushed up. And then to my husband's salad, I'm going to add some guacamole. And then I'm just going to add on the dressing. And here are our finished salads. Like I said, I know the ingredients for the dressing might seem a little bit weird, but this is actually really good. I recommend you give this a try. This was really, really delicious. Tonight we just did another really quick and easy dinner. I took a bag of chicken strips that I got from Aldi. I cooked these in the air fryer, and then I took some of these Checkers fries and I cooked these in the oven according to the package instructions. And here are the finished plates. So for my husband, he has some fries, and then I took a couple of chicken tenders, tossed them in buffalo sauce. I put them into a burrito-sized tortilla with some iceberg lettuce, some tomatoes, and shredded cheddar cheese. And then he has some Marzetti blue cheese sauce for dipping, rather. And then for me, I just have some of the chicken tenders with some honey mustard and some fries, and that was our dinner this night. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.